So just to provide that extra support.
Phil, one of the things I've seen over the course of my career is that you're going to pay somewhere. And if you pay on the front end, it's usually a little bit more right then. But if you pay on the back end, it's a whole lot more over time, right? So, do you see that with what you've done in the town of Bridgewater about how if you take those extra steps up front, it helps maybe buy you some extra grace or get you better results on the back?
Correct. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Taking those extra steps provides safety and security for those victims maybe later on down the road, or it provides just assistance to those who need it that in a time of need. And it's just, yeah, I mean, time and time again how it's paid off for everyone involved, as well as, just even the bad guys, giving them a little bit of respect, a little bit of extra here and there. They'll just willingly, if they know they've done wrong. We've had several times where, like, okay, yes, sir, I know you're honest and upfront with me. Let's go to jail. It's okay. Yeah. So, it's definitely paid off in the long run too, to go that extra step with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were speaking to it, and this was almost a situation that I put in your lap, whether you realize it or not, because about 2 or 3 years ago, my son was wanting to make a career move, and I had full intention of having him talk to you and 3 or 4 buddies that own different businesses and so on. He got to the first one, and that guy hired him on the spot, so he never made it to you. But if you were talking with somebody that's a young individual or professional, and they were really looking to advance in their career, and they wanted to become a successful leader and have a lasting impact and influence on the people around them, what advice would you give them?
I would give them, as in law enforcement, it is a great profession. It really is. And it teaches you so much. Just responsibility. It teaches you so much of what, like, dependability, and just like all the different aspects that we deal with on a daily basis. If leadership, I think, in a time of an emergency is so critical, and it teaches so much to young, even if you don't stay in law enforcement for 25 years, those who have law enforcement at their first few years of their lives, or military, it teaches you so much on leadership in emergency situations, to stay calm under stressful situations. And it really it's where the rubber meets the road, in other words. And I mean, I think it's a very rewarding career. It can be also very taxing. So, just to be honest, I mean, some days you're gonna be worn out, and but it is a great career and a great stepping stone. Yeah, yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, you heard me and Cindy share what's ultimately based on the first chapter of the book I'm going to release soon, Leading with Clear Purpose, where I reference you and another friend of mine that's chosen public safety as a career, and where, gosh, you certainly didn't do it for the money, not the military, not law
Yeah.
enforcement, not fire safety. Not to say it can't be there as you grow through the ranks, but that's not the starting point. But the part that I would argue is every single role, if you're going to take on leadership responsibility, there's going to be days you get kicked in the shins,
Oh
and
yeah.
some days it just sucks. It's the way it is. Now, in that, you mentioned something really neat. I heard John Maxwell say a number of years ago that he was talking with one of his mentors, and he asked his mentor a question about somebody, and the guy says, "Hey, I can't tell you what that guy's character's like because I've never seen him in adversity." And what you just shared says, "Hey, it teaches you to handle adversity." That's where
Oh
tough
yeah.
people, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
talk about a situation that you faced that because of your in your role, don't give specifics, but maybe a scenario that you faced that your training and the different things through military, through law enforcement, that's really been a challenging leadership situation, but you've been able to navigate it and help folks have the best positive outcome that they could possibly have.
Um, just leading a department of officers, or leading the patrol unit when I was a patrol leader at the city, or a squad of officers or a team of soldiers or anything, um, I I would say the best thing is hearing people out, no matter if it's somebody on the street, or an officer that comes into your office. It's so much, especially at least in our profession, we want to just cut the person off, shut them down, be like, nope, you need to do this, this, and that, and just move on. But really, you hear the person out, they know you're listening, they know like um, that I'm gonna hear every aspect, every complaint, or everything you've got to say, and then go forward from there. So I think a lot of times people just want to be heard, no matter if it's somebody that you're leading or that you're arresting, ultimately. So they want to be heard, and then you can, if you truly listen and not just hear them, if you actually are listening, then you can make a good judgment call on the next steps going forward. So whatever that would be.
Brother, that's powerful. And I did everything in my power to not laugh out loud as you said that, not because it was funny what you were saying, but because I know we're wired the same way. And that listening is not something that comes easy. And in
Correct.
transparency, do you have to work at it? Does it take a lot of energy for you to
Oh
do that?
yes, yes, yes. It takes a lot of cognitive, like, okay, I've got to listen to the whatever's going on. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, that's called being mature and taking responsibility for leadership, right? That's not just something that comes easy. You got to do the hard crap.
correct.
So,
Yeah.
so this one's going to be awkward, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway. What do you feel like sets your team apart in Bridgewater currently from other competitors? I mean, we've talked about this. I see a lot of different agencies that are hiring, and there's no shortage of, there is a shortage of talent in many different trades, law enforcement being one. Why? What are you hearing from the folks that say, I want to be part of your team?
That's interesting because now that it's not necessarily one thing like, oh, we pay the most, so everybody wants to come here, because we don't, or we have the best benefits, because we don't. We have good benefits and good pay, but, or not one thing, but I what I hear the officers say is like, "Oh, you need to come to Bridgewater. This is a great place to work." So what that means, I think they feel valued. They feel like what they do here actually matters, and it's actually making a difference. Like you said before, we don't get in this profession for the money or the